Hey, my name is Harley Wallen. I am a filmmaker and actor. I currently reside in Michigan, but I am from Sweden. And I moved here in the late 90s to pursue my acting. And how I got started is kind of funny because at the time I was a breakdancer and I was intrigued by acting and I loved movies and my mom quotes me at 5 years old saying that I was going to be a big star and I was going to move to the United States. So this must have had some kind of subliminal thing for me for quite a while, but. I first really remembered getting into this when I got cast as a dancer on a syndicated TV show called Solstolarna. It was a big time show in Sweden and it was all over. And at the time, I wasn't getting a role to act. Didn't have any training, but it was really intriguing for me to get in there. I ended up getting a couple of lines here and there, started hanging out with the actors, found myself an acting coach. And the thing with acting is if you really like a journey and not just the end result, I think acting is a great spot because you really have an opportunity to train and develop and improve and grow forever. And there's really no such thing as playing a role twice. I was in a film that was a sequel where the character is the same guy, but just like that character, me as a person grow and get older and change, so does that character. So you don't even play that character twice because you play the new and improved version of them, down a year, 6 months, whatever it may be. But yeah, I love acting. I think it's so intriguing to get into somebody else's mindset and ways. I think I learn more about myself acting to play other roles than anything because most of the time you don't think about why you say and do the things you do all the time, but you do much more when you're an actor because you have to figure that out for the character. My first role was on Solstolarna, and it was just a line. But I think, when you're asking that question, you're probably asking a little bit more about the first time I had to essentially be somebody on screen. And the first time for that was a film called Youth Against Violence in Sweden also, because that's when I made the decision that I was going to pursue this more, got my first acting coach, got into class and started actually developing my craft. That was a lot of fun. The character wasn't super far from myself, so it wasn't an overly complicated role for me to step into. I have been working on my acting now for almost 30 years, which is wild. 30 years. I feel like I haven't been doing it that long. And at the same time, when I think back about books read and videos and trainings and seminars and stuff, it feels like I've been doing it forever. But yeah, long time. Currently, I would say the role that I'm really excited about right now is I am playing Nick on a TV show called Tale of Tales. I'm one of the leads, and the character is a riot. He is, I'd say, a low-level mobster kind of guy, owns a strip club, finds himself in trouble, and finds very creative ways to get out of trouble. And he's, I could see you loving to hate him, I could see you loving him, and I could see you hating him. So he's the kind of character that will make you feel, which is a good thing. But I'm having a blast playing him, that's for sure. As far as advice, oh God, this is always tricky because the most advice I could possibly give is don't stop, don't quit. Keep pushing. That is the ultimate thing because you never know where success is. It could be just on the other side of the no you got today. It could be on that next project. It could be on that next take. So you always want to push, and you always want to try to go for being the best you can, and that goes to the second half of this, and that's training. You know, because I think, because as a martial artist, I've gone through training and extensive training and coaching and everything else. If you said to me, "Hey, I want to become a world-class mixed martial artist," or "I want to fight in the UFC," I wouldn't say trust your skills, just go in and do it. I would say you need training, you need development, you need to find a great coach, you need to find a great gym. All those things still apply. As an actor, you want to make sure that you do your due diligence on getting a great acting coach by developing your craft, by training a lot, and by learning to have that playful, youthful attitude. Sanford Meisner talks about that childlike playfulness that you see in kids, and I'm blessed to have a 5 and a 7-year-old at home, and I get to interact with them all the time, and I learn from them because they're so into their play that you could swear it's all real when they're doing it. So that's a really good lesson, I think. But yeah, pursuing learning, pursuing growing, and being okay with that you don't know everything and that you're not perfect, I think is great. I have a few projects that I'd like to touch on before we get going. First things first, I have a film coming out this year. We're negotiating with the distributor right now. Hopefully we'll have it in theaters in November. But it's called A Bennett Song Holiday. It is the sequel to Bennett's song that's already done incredibly well all across the globe. I play Cole, and I get to play somebody that's, I mean, I think he's a little goofier and nerdier than me, but I may be wrong. He might be a lot more like me than I'd like to admit. But it's I get to play a dad and a husband and a very cool, generous guy. And the sequel for that, A Bennett Song Holiday, should be out in November, and I would strongly recommend it, especially if you like feel-good movies, if you like diversity. This film has a lot of things going for it. The second thing would be a 180 from that, and it's called Ash and Bone. I play, again, a father and a husband, but in a very, very different film. This is a dark, violent horror film. It's an urban legend kind of thing. And the McKinleys will, if they don't go to horror cons and comic cons for the rest of their life, I'll be surprised. They are incredible. Jimmy Doom and Erica Hovland are outstanding, are villains in that film. But I'll tell you, I hope that we're going to have this out by Halloween, and I'd love to see it in theaters. I would put it up against just about anything I've done in the past. It's a great ride. I hope you enjoy it. Ash and Bone and A Bennett Song Holiday. And if you haven't seen Agramon's Gate, I will strongly recommend that as well, especially if you're into horror. I made some really interesting choices with a character. I've had people watch the trailer and say, "So are you in this?" Because they can't even recognize me in this film. I am bald with a giant scar across my eye. We have a great prequel that if Agramon's Gate is successful enough, I would love to make the prequel of how all that went down and how Zeb ended up with a scar across his face. But it's a great ride. I hope you enjoy Agramon's Gate, and I hope that you had a good time listening to me talk about it today. Thank you.